Respected sort of Hashide, I think leaders, then particularly I think daughter, isn't it? The late former president of this great country, I have sort of clear sort of memory about sort of his genuine sense of concern and showing keen interest about Tibetan culture and Tibetan Buddhism. One time, he actually stayed while we carry debate, dialectical debate. So every word you should translate. Whether he understands or not, that I don't know. Really, he wonderful sort of person as a former president of this great country, but yet very humble, very simple. Like a former, the first Indian president, Rajendra Prasad, also like that. Wonderful. So in any way, I really feel very happy. Then also, coming, they also what called Tin Mutin Saure. As you mentioned, 1956. I think one secret I want to share with you. 1954, in Peking, the Pandit Nehru came to Peking. So one sort of, I think, banquet or something. The Pandit Nehru, introduced to Pandit Nehru all the sort of leaders. And among them, myself, Panchen Lama, and also one great Tibetan scholars also there. So then, Zhu Enlai introduced each. Then, in front of me, Zhu Enlai introduced this Dalai Lama. So Pandit Nehru remained like motionless. I thought that moment, he reflected whole sort of the event of Tibet. So then Zhu Enlai, very smart, immediately they introduced the next person. But Pandit Nehru, of course, great leader, experienced person, but emotion is so strong, he remained something like that. I also feel a little embarrassed. But then, of course, 56, on Buddha Jayanti celebration, I came, and several meetings, and sometimes a little bit heated discussion also. Because at that time, many of my sort of officials and also my two brothers very much insist I should remain in India. So I also discussed with Pandit Nehru very detailed. And he advised me, must go back. And one day, he even, came to see me at Hyderabad house, where I stay. Government of India arranged. So Pandit Nehru came with one copy of 17-point agreement in his own hand, and then showed me, this point, you must carry struggle within Tibet. So he really showed genuine sort of concern. Then 59. After that, several meetings. Sometimes when I enter this gate, I'm a little bit nervous. But then, second meeting, third meeting, fourth, fifth, like that, then it becomes very close sort of feeling. Very nice person. And also I learned what is democracy, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. At some point which we request him, he disagreed. But we decided our own sort of way. So then, after that, when I meet him, I little hesitate what his sort of reaction, but completely sort of was it normal. I learned the meaning of freedom of expression, freedom of different thought. He understands that. And other boss there in China, not like that. So I learned 9 years, you see, dealing with Chinese leaders. Of course, the Chairman Mao, quite exceptional. But then later I found his nice promise, not very sincere, later not implemented. So that means word is word, action is action. So in any way, so I extremely happy come here. As soon as I enter, I reflect those years of my experience. And at that time, or before that, you see, when we were in Lhasa, you see, the word, name, Jawaharlal Nehru. You see, Tibetan, you see, use Jawaharlal is Chola Nehru. Chola means brother. So elder brother. Nehru, our elder brother. They use that kind of word. Chola Nehru. So that's now past. And then I want to thank the conductor, music conductor. Choir, I don't know that word. But in any way, I really, usually I have not much interest about these music, these things. But the way you conduct, something very living, something very sort of full of the involvement, that kind of thing. So I appreciate. Thank you. Then my talk, non-violence. Non-violence and spiritual values in a secular India. I think hardly is nothing to say to Indian brothers, sisters. You already know these things last more than 2,000 years. However, you see those younger sort of generation who have much interest about technology and science and computer, these things. Maybe is it worthwhile to remind the tradition which exists, develop this country and maintain last more than 2,000 years. Firstly, non-violence. What is non-violence? Real demarcation of violence and non-violence we cannot judge on sort of apparent action, but rather the deeper motivation. For example, a good teacher, a good parent, some little naughty student or naughty children. Sometimes out of genuine sense of concern of their future, their well-being, you see, showing little sort of tough attitude or harsh attitude. Actually, because that action carried by genuine sense of concern or compassion. So that's essentially non-violence. On the other hand, their motivation want to cheat the other or exploit other, then express very nice word, smile. Although with such motivation, the smile is artificial smile, not a genuine smile, but in any way, you see, with some smile and praising and some gift, looks nice, non-violent action. But because of the ultimate motivation is one to cheat, one to harm, one to deceive, or exploit. So it is a violent action. So ultimately, non-violence very much related with motivation. So I usually describe non-violence is act of compassion, genuine sense of concern of others' well-being, no matter how difficult it is, difficult circumstances, you treat them as a human brothers, sisters, and realize they also have the right to overcome suffering. With understanding that, avoid, even you can carry some force, right? Some violence, but deliberately restrain. That is true non-violent. So remain, the helpless way, not harming other, that's not non-violence. There's no other choice. So real non-violence is you have the opportunity, you have the sort of ability, but deliberately restrain violence, harming other, out of a sense of compassion. That's real non-violence. So now spirituality, spiritual values, inspired different sort of philosophical view. All major traditions carry same message of love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, and contentment, self-discipline. So these are the element of genuine non-violent motivation. Then even the secular way, not including non-believer, like this country. I often used to telling people, sharing other people. One time, Advani told me, one of the factors of successful democratic practice in this country is 1,000 years. You see, India have a tradition that he makes one example, the Charvaka school of thought. Actually, nihilism. So rest of the spiritual school of thought criticize that. Yet, people who holding that view refer rishi, sage. So this disagreement, as far as viewpoint is concerned, the disagreement, and criticize. However, the person who hold that view, respect. So that's the one sort of the factor. Successful democracy in this country. Different views, they criticize each other, yet respect. So therefore, the secularism also means, you see, the respect non-believer. Not only respect all different religious traditions, but also respect non-believer. So, I think secularism, according to Indian sort of view, secularism not at all disrespect religion, but respect all religions. And no preference, this religion or that religion or particular religion. No. Look, equally, all religion, respect. Some my friend, some Muslims, some Christian, they little sort of reservation, the word of secularism. But according to India, secularism is not at all disrespect or some kind of sort of negative rejection of religion. Because 1,000 years, I think now more than 3,000 years, and this country developed different religious sort of belief or religious sort of views. One ancient, very ancient sort of tradition is Sangha philosophy, before Buddha come. And then from Sangha philosophy, the more subdivisions develop. Hello. Long time friend. When you are in the ministry, we also have serious discussions. Then Buddhism, Jainism develop. Then, of course, from outside, Zoroastrianism came, and Christian come, Islam come, also Judaism. So, beside home, and then later Sikhism. Of course, because of the circumstances, Guru Nanak respect both Islam and Hindu and all the traditions. The later Sikhism, some kind of non-sectarian, something like that. So because of that sort of reality, 1,000 years, sort of Indian, basically something like very open mind. From their childhood, they already know there are many different traditions. Recently, I was in Jodhpur, in my hotel, when I was passing through lobby. One European, he came, approached to me, and I asked, from where you come? And he introduced himself as a Romanian. And he carried some research about religious harmony. Then he told me he really impressed and also surprised. He visited one village. The entire villagers are Muslim. Only 3 families are Hindu. But no fear, no anxiety, very friendly. That's India. You see, different religious tradition is private business, and live together as a community. For example, in Kerala, in this area, I think in grassroots, I think 1,000 years, that kind of tradition you see kept. So the secularism, respect to all religions, then also, as I mentioned earlier, non-believer. I think that's the really strength of India. And also, now time come. Usually I describe Indian as our guru. We are Chela. A Chela, on that level, I myself now carrying India's two traditions. One, non-violence, ahimsa. One, religious harmony. These two things, wherever I go, I always talk these two things. So I consider myself as a messenger. Firstly, Chela of India. Secondly, as a messenger of Indian ancient thought. So I often used to telling, messenger level, I'm quite active to promote these things. Now my real boss should take more active role regarding promotion of non-violence and promotion of religious harmony. World need that. These two things, non-violence and religious harmony, not only ancient thing, but very relevant to today's world. Look among same Christian, same believer of Trinity, Catholic, Protestant, and Northern Ireland, fighting. Very sad. I have been in Northern Ireland few occasions. Then also you see Sunni and Shia. They follow of same sort of teacher Muhammad and use Quran, same. But due to small differences here and there, fighting each other, even killing each other. Very sad. So sometimes, unfortunately, religion also become additional sort of factor of division. Suppose religion bring together. All religion talks love, compassion, sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, and particularly those theistic religion. All people come from same source. So according to that view, truly brothers, sisters. But these sort of real wise sort of view neglect and small things, too much emphasis in small things, then fighting. So India, 1,000 years you kept these two things, still very much alive in this country. Now must show to the rest of the world where the conflict or division, or even if it's a conflict in the name of different religion. Now you must active role in this field. Not a political reason, economic reason, simply as a human being. So that, then secularism, I emphasize the secular ethics, because in the reality, major portion of now nearly 7 billion human beings, major portions are not serious about religion. These also important part of humanity. Whether they believe religion or not, that's individual business. But they must be good citizen or compassionate citizen, or compassionate for the humanity. Human being, part of humanity. That's very important. So if we tell, practice of compassion and love is something important because of Buddha state, because of Jesus Christ state, because of Muhammad state, then these people say, I don't care. I have no interest in these things. So we must have ways and means to bring conviction in these people. Practice of compassion, loving kindness, these are your own sort of well-being. Everybody wants happiness and good health. The medicine alone may not bring good health. Now doctors, medical scientists now begin to realize peace of mind, calm mind is key factor for good health. And the more calm mind, more peaceful mind come through more self-confidence, inner strength. Where lack of self-confidence, fear, distrust, suspicion, these things happen. These are very bad for our health. Some scientists say the constant fear and hatred is actually eating our immune system. So more compassionate mental attitude is sustain these immune system. So in order to become more sensible person, not necessarily follow religious tradition. Without religion, can be a very nice person, very sensible person. So therefore, wherever I go, I always talk the importance of secular ethics. I think sometimes, this country, basically is the people comparatively more religious-minded. But their religion, practice of religion is mourning in front of a Ganesh statue or Shiva Lingam, and close eye recite some shloka, Sanskrit shloka without knowing the meaning. Then put some flower, some incense. No connection your daily life. So whenever you find the opportunity, corruptions. These religious people still corrupted. So what's lacking? Genuine conviction. Not just a prayer, but as a human being, in order to gain personal sort of happiness, family happiness, community happiness, honest, truthful, transparent, honest, truthful is the key factor. That brings inner strength. These, when you conduct truthful, honest, then you can carry transparent. That brings trust. Trust brings unity, friendship. After all, we are social animals. The cooperation is very essential. Now, not only nation to nation, but also continent to continent, cooperation is really essential. So genuine cooperation comes on the basis of friendship. The friendship comes trust. Trust comes from compassion. So therefore, these are something not only just religious sort of matter, religious thing, but in our day-to-day life. These are something very important. So that I usually should try. So that's all. Thank you. Now some questions. About Tibetan culture and Tibetan Buddhism. One time, he actually stay while we carry debate, dialectical debate. So every word you should translate. Whether he understand or not, that I don't know. Really, he wonderful sort of person. As a former president of this great country, but yet very humble, very simple. Like a former, the first Indian president, Rajendra Prasad, also respected sort of actually, I think leaders. Then, particularly the, I think daughter, isn't it? The late former president of this great country. I have sort of clear sort of memory about sort of his, what's the genuine sense of concern and showing keen interest. So one sort of, I think, banquet or something, the Pandit Nehru introduced to Pandit Nehru, all the sort of leaders. And among them, myself, Panchen Lama, and also one great Tibetan scholars also there. So then, Chu and I introduced each. Then, in front of me, so like that, wonderful. So in any way, I really feel very happy. Then also, coming, they also what called Tin Mutin Saure. As you mentioned, 1956. I think one secret I want to share with you. 1954, in Peking, the Pandit Nehru, they came to Peking. Zhou introduced this Dalai Lama. So Pandit Nehru remained like motionless. I thought that moment, he reflected whole the event of Tibet. So then Zhou Enlai, very smart. Immediately they introduced the next person. But Pandit Nehru, of course, great leader, experienced person.